Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BMRL. And we are here live once again after an eventful and exciting race at the Daytona Speedway. We're back once again here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's going to be 130 laps of exciting racing action. But before that, we will be having a few laps of qualifying laps from all these drivers to get their laps set up, get their times up on the screen, and everything they can get to give themselves the best starting position on the grid. It's myself, Zabby here, and I have a co-commentator alongside me. It's Chris Mayo. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
All good. Quite excited for the race. Just waiting for these drivers to do what they are there to do in the qualifying session, and we start for the race.
Yes, Atlanta Super Speedway. It's a very technical, pretty difficult track. It's only a mile and a half, so it's a very small super speedway, but you will get speeds kind of similar to what we saw last week at Daytona, even though this is about half the size. Yeah, it's going to produce a lot of great two-wide racing, I feel. You can possibly get some three-wide racing, but this track does get pretty tight in those corners.
Interesting. At least maybe in those corners, we're gonna realize that what or how it's behaving. But those straights at least feel good enough for a three-wide racing tonight.
Yeah, especially that back straight. These drivers are going to have to watch out for the front stretch, especially going across that quad oval, they call it right there at the start-finish line. Going into turn one, it kind of gets really tight, and so I believe last season in the Truck Series, we saw an incident happen when there was a three-wide battle going on into turn one. That bottom line truck, it's kind of like the apron line kind of just goes from being way down to being way up. It feels like into turn one, so it's a little bit of it gets skinnier.
That explains it, and I'm sure all these drivers have prepared for this track all around. And even before this qualifying session begin, there was a bit of a practice session all around as well. So I'm sure they're all used to it now and just ready to go. All as you see drivers putting in their laps in the qualifying session here, and they would just be would be just very excited for this race to begin now. With, of course, 10 of them for the time being. We have a look at it's currently honed the quickest, and there goes Cornet, just 5,000 of a second slower, in fact. But that is interesting to see. Almost every single one of them in those 32-second mark for time being.
Yeah, and then you see there is that double white with the red line going around this apron of this track to kind of separate the apron from the actual racetrack, and a lot of guys you might see during qualifying kind of jump below that red and white line to pass the start finish line. But when these guys do take the green flag, that line will be out of bounds because it kind of like I was saying, going into turn one, you know, you can cross that line going across the front start finish line, but once you hit turn one, it kind of just it doesn't disappear. It just gets really tight. It just goes, you know, up the track into turn one, and it turns a three-wide, you know, three-lane track into pretty much a two-lane track. So these guys not going to be able to use that line tonight.
Interesting. So that pretty much, as we say, a divider to the track, or probably the off-track line, where they're just simply not allowed to cross it and just stay within that line and race what they're going to be racing.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, look for some great double file or double wide racing here. Maybe we'll get the exciting three wide moves.
Awesome. As we have the grid ready for the race, Austin at top, car number 48 right behind him. is Dakota Ramsdale in second place. That completes the front row. Then comes Jeff Pepper in third place with Chris Cornett just alongside him. Not far away from the top four is going to be Corey Moore and Sean Cross in fifth and sixth place to each of them. Then comes Corey Denson in seventh, Dustin Hardy in eighth. He didn't have a pretty good of a race last week, but this time around he seems to be inside that top eight. And looking to go forward from here. Then it's Prevo, and then comes Packard in 10th place. Then it's the Phil Brick in 11th, and Brendan Yates in P12. That completes out the top 12 drivers grid here tonight for the race.
Alright, looks like waiting on no, looks like everyone has gridded onto the pit road, and there we go. Pace car is gonna pull off of pit road here as we get set for 130 laps of racing, 200 miles, so a lot less than what we saw last weekend.
So interestingly, even we have more laps, but distance covered, of course, this track being a little bit quite smaller than what Daytona is. So we still covers a little to less distance than what it was last week for the 115 laps around Daytona.
Yep, so last week we were doing, I think, about 300 miles. And then this week only 200 miles here. That's just kind of like how I like to set it up, you know. Because look, going into like the actual NASCAR races, Daytona is one of the biggest races. So I kind of like to make Daytona one of the biggest races here at BMRL, and then every other race is about 150 to 200 miles. So we'll do about half to maybe about 3/4 the length of what we did at Daytona for the rest of these races.
Interestingly, but I'm sure the action-packed and interest of these races is going to be staying the same. Meanwhile, the pace car pulls into the pit lane, and that's going to be going green very, very soon. And we'll have these drivers racing along for positions, for points, and for their own satisfaction here around the circuit. It's going to be Ramsdale leading just ahead of Austin Noon on the outside line. They're very, very close, still keeping it there. Meanwhile, some cars right behind in that behind pack, but the leaders, we are going at it, and car number 48 on that inside line keeps it to themselves, and that tightness that we were talking about really is visible out there between those drivers. It's really being close between those top 4 drivers out there. Meanwhile, 87 falls behind a little bit, but the leader is on that inside line, and it's going to be Austin Newton, and right behind him is going to be one of the other car number 7 on the inside line, still staying there, but the outsiders are just coming as the track switches up from the 2 to 3 lanes now. It's interesting to see what is going to be going around. Meanwhile, Austin there almost leading from both the lines outside and the inside line, trying to defend from both those lines there, both of those drivers there, but now that becomes him being forced to stay to go to the outside line. Meanwhile, backs away a little bit does Jeff Peppers. He was very, very close, almost getting ahead of the outsiders on that top 4, which of course the track. Meanwhile, we see some of the cars running very wide, almost out of that red-white line, away from it, but 45 still staying there. Meanwhile, they could be an attack right from car number 30, Packard from in. They're still going together, but the outsider, Packard, is going to be having more pace and more speed. He's going to be carrying his sure is finding more grip, traction, and confidence in his car than 45, though, but still a long race to go, though. 113 laps, 3 have been already passed. That's going to be going these drivers passing into the 4th one now.
Yeah, but it looks like early on, Brandon Yates, Corey Denson, and Corey Moore all kind of, like you were saying, backing off of this pack as they don't want to be involved in any of this really tight racing. going on up here towards the front. Your best bet, I mean, 130 laps. You can't win it on lap 1. Can't win it on lap 50. You can't even win it on lap 129. So it really just matters is that final lap. So you want to just keep your car in great shape. Ooh, we see the 33 kind of touches the apron and gets a little bit loose off of 2. Oh, and the 91 of Corey Denson. He kind of got a little loose, and I think he made a little bit of contact.
Yep, might have touched. Interesting to see, and definitely that tightness of the track is already visible, and definitely we had a fantastic Cup Series race at Daytona, which was almost the first 2 stages of that race, the most chaotic and interesting they could be, but I think definitely third stage is going to be where, of course, all these drivers would be looking to go the best they can, but I think it's already visible. Definitely the top guys and around the outsiders are going to go for it. The 48 is going to just maybe have to back out a little. He's not going to try and back out, but he might be having to do so, as down the outside, it's going to be Ramsdale, I believe, going at it, and he's going to be going ahead of Austin and going to try and get ahead, and he already is ahead indeed. 83 into the lead of this race. Meanwhile, you're having a great photo of Dakota Ramsdale there, but 83, he's taking that race lead, and definitely the leader is at it. He's announced himself, as we're going to see again, coming back with B. Austin at him, car number 48. Nobody's backing out a little, especially these leaders are at it, and they know there could be a big chance of taking that lead. Of course, these oval races, you're never confirmed of a race lead. If you're going to take it, then probably there is a lot less opportunity to try and defend your position. Meanwhile, Austin and Dakota are going at it, back and forth, one or the other. Who's going to be taking it there, though? Jeff Evers is not far away. So is in the car 85, 87, in fact, are very, very close, as well as car number 7 on the outside is now very, very close. And in fact, running together is going to be 83 and 88. It's car number 7, though, and to get 7 gets ahead, and right behind would be that another car on the inside. There's going to be 06 is very, very close as well. Almost he's going to have his go as well. They're almost going to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide for a moment that there was, but still all of them just being a bit patient, being a bit cautious than what they know that a lot of this could go wrong, and just one move and one wrong move could be it for their whole preparation and whatever they've prepared for this all of this race. Still going strong though, so one pack all together, the other a little bit behind, but in fact all of them looking to be very close to each other. But if you see another car far behind from this pack there, but still helpful, in fact still hopeful for their chance to get closer to these guys.
Yeah, and it looks like car number 30, Joe Packard, on pit road. He has been for about 20 seconds. Oh, it looks like he has some damage. Not sure what happened here, but yeah, he's definitely suffering some damage there.
Yep, his left side looks a bit down, maybe a damage or something on that left-hand side of the car. But we are looking at this back once again, the outside line. There's only 3 cars. The rest of them have decided to be back on that inside line and go single file. But of course, the outsiders are not going to let that happen. And of course, that's going to be Dakota Ramsdale going to be the first one to announce it. Meanwhile, 87 cars not far away from those guys as well. Jeff Evers on the inside line, still staying there. So is the 06 car, still coming to that line, to that position so far, keeping it to themselves. We've already got 12 laps past of 130. The laps are rapidly passing, but not for these drivers. Every single corner they're going through, every single mile they're going through on the circuit is pretty much, but their time is going very, very slow, but still going to be very close. This track pretty much offering variety of wideness, and in terms of that length, of course, as it gets a little bit tighter in some parts, but wider in one or the others. It's really sometimes might get hard for all these drivers to try and defend, to try and judge where they're committing into the corner. Sometimes as they go all for a one move to be done, could go all wrong, but so far all of them have stayed intact, except for that one car we saw into the pits, though we could not identify what happened around there. Meanwhile, Ramsdale around the outside, still just keeping his nose ahead of 48 there, and that's going to be 3 wide almost. If one of the 87, if 87 could try and get in there from right behind, but he's not risking it anything at all. He knows it's very, very early, so no risk taken so far. Lap 15 out of 130. Austin and still leading it there, though, from the front. Meanwhile, we see one of the cars right behind, almost going on that inside line and out of that red-white line, but still keeping it there, though, of course. It's all going all nice and good for all these drivers. Austin at the moment is almost, from a few moments, it feels like they're going 3 wide, but they just not committing to it at the moment, of course, knowing that one wrong move could really be ending their all of this race so far. Meanwhile, around the outside, once again, he's going to try and take back that lead. 83 is going to try and go for it, though, but right behind those drivers are not going to be leaving them far behind as well. So far in this race, as it stands, it's going to be currently those last drivers for in 11th place, 9 seconds behind this pack. But Packard still in that pits, though. Maybe he's not coming out, or he might be coming out as we saw some damage for him. Meanwhile, 83 once again. Ramsdale still committing to it. For a moment, it feels like one of these drivers are almost leading single file. But we'll see what's going to be happening, though. They're still keeping it wheel to wheel, as we say, though. And it's going to be Peppers still on that inside line. Dustin Hardy so far, car number 33 in 6th place. As we saw a bit of a glimpse of him out there, but still keeping it, though. All of these drivers 33 staying there, some of them on the inside, some of them on the outside. The top 3 on that inside line are Austin, Jeff Peppers, and 06 car. And just on the, just a little bit away from those guys is car number 15 it's not far away though, he's catching up back again. And some of those on the outside are becoming more than there are on the inside line. And that's almost 3 wide for a moment. We saw very, very close.
Yeah, and Chris Cornett lifting out of the throttle a lot. He's dropping back big time from that little scatter there.
Maybe that's fuel saving a little bit. Sure, they would be thinking about strategies and really get to the end of this race. I'm sure they're yet to get pit stops in this race, but maybe some fuel tank or fuel saving thing, or maybe some other tactics and strategies going on here in this race. Of course, not long of a track though, but does it get hard? Of course, if you're being lapped around here, lifting a lot, maybe this track is not that big, so the cars ahead try and catch you again once maybe you have one, by the time you haven't even crossed them, or probably just got closer to those guys. So maybe chance of you getting lapped is a lot higher than it would be on any other track, which would be a little bit longer in length. But still, sure, I mean, maybe strategies all around, and just thinking about that lap 130, maybe. Now he's going to take this race to the end of the race, and that's going to be an incident. Car number 3 and some more others involved, and that is going to be a big shunt. And first of this entire race so far, and that's on lap 20. That's 87 involved, and Ramsdale is leading, but the cars behind them were still there, and that is going to be a big shunt. You're going to see what happened there, though. They were going all at the double fire for a moment. As soon as they go single, that is going to be an incident. Just 87 on the outside. 3 try and go to the outside. He did not judge that 87 was there, and that's going to be a big shot. Meanwhile, the 2 other cars bumped into each other as well. 91 has got big damage.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, they all sustained pretty heavy front-end damage. Let's see how long these repairs are, how long these guys are going to be on pit road for. Ooh.
That is definitely a big shunt to take for all these drivers. We only see 4 drivers now on that behind that pace car. Of course, all of the others jump into pit road for repairs and to get back out on the track once again. But this is definitely a big moment in the race. Only on lap 22, of course. Lap 35, I believe, would be the first stage of this race. So this is definitely going to be deciding who comes out at the top at the end of that first stage. Of course, those who maybe drivers would have been far behind a little bit from the pack would be at the top. But still, Brendan Yates, I feel like, if I'm not wrong, he was far behind from the top pack earlier. He's caught up back, and this is going to be a great opportunity for him. No, in fact, he was with those guys on the outside. Car number 15 it is. And now 83 is going to be there back in P5 after colliding. He doesn't, maybe he's not in the pits after even colliding there. Make sure to give this broadcast and stream a bit of a thumbs up and in terms and show us your appreciation for this race so far. Hope you're enjoying it. We've only got up to lap 23. We're going to see when does the pace car go in, and it goes back green once again. This has been very interesting so far. It was a nice little fight for positions all along throughout the race so far from the start to lap 20 up until when that shunt happened, and that is now wide open, this race, for everybody to be having a chance at it. But the top drivers are Austin Hund, and on the inside with him, it's going to be, as you're going to see, that's going to be Jeff Peppers, of course, car number 7 on the inside of him, and it's going to be 06 in P3. He's, of course, on that inside line. Phil Brick, and then it's Brendan Yates in 15, and Ramsdale in car number 83. He was fighting for that lead of the race, in fact, for a few moments' time. He's far behind now, and Dustin Hardy in 6th place. Then comes Chris Moore, if I'm not wrong, it's Moore, car number 45 out there. Then, of course, it's Prevo A73. Then it's Corey Denson, I believe that should be 91. And Chris Cornett, it was car number 87, who had a big shunt and still staying in the pit lane for repair. So is Sean Cross, car number 3, another one big involvement in that race. Meanwhile, Joe Packard, who earlier, I believe, had an incident and wasn't into that pit lane for repairs, is back out on track. And now, right behind the lead cars, and it's going to be the pace car coming into the pit lane, and it's going to be going green. Meanwhile, 06 has stayed to the inside line, just behind 48 there, but car number 7, Peppers, for a moment thought to go on that outside line, but just comes back again, and I think have to be very cautious of 83 there. He was the one, 87, I believe that was. I keep mistaking 83 for 87, but we're going to see what is it going to be happening again now. Peppers has went for it on the outside. He's going to try and at least get ahead of 06 there, but not so far. He's almost losing to the 83 on the inside there, though. But we're going to see still there, though, the only 2 cars on the outside, which is going to be 3 now, with 45 far away from those drivers, and 7 now losing a few positions there, just getting away on the outside line from the inside. But I'm sure with Brendan Yates right behind him, they'll work their way around, and there could be some movements, and we could see the Jeff Peppers around the outside making a move very soon in this race so far. But still, 06 for a moment thought for it, and I think that sometimes the outside line just has that little boost, of course, in these oval races, and they get ahead from the outside line all time long. And meanwhile, the 83 in between has went to the outside line as well. All of them are trying their own tactics, and just Dustin Hardy in their 33 is going at it as well. He's going to be trying all out there, of course. Meanwhile, Peppers is still committed to that outside line. So is Ramsdale, still staying there, of course. Austin, we've seen he's still staying to the inside line, though we haven't seen him move to the outside line, despite maybe losing the lead for a few moments' time. But definitely that is interesting to see how this is going to be going up between these drivers, still going up there and going they're giving it their all so far. They've kept it smooth. They've kept it fine, though. We're on lap 27 out of which the first stage is going to be at lap 35, I believe. That's going to be interesting to see what's going to be happening in that outside line. Is the work which was due from that lane is now coming up to life, and they're once again very, very close to each other, and staying close would be the key here for the outside liners to maintain their race, to prepare the drivers on the inside to have a chance and know that they're going to be coming up for them, and that is going to be indeed Ramsdale around the outside, taking the lead and moving himself up into first place, but Honda's going to come back at him, and Austin's going to take that once again, first place for him. Meanwhile, 06 is going to be at it as well on that inside line. Pepper's around the outside. Oh, there was a bit of a movement for for a little bit there, but still very, very close, and interesting to see. So far, it's still staying to their time, though. It indeed is going to be lap 35, the first stage. So we're only about 6 laps away from that. And here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, those 6 laps are going to pass away rapidly. Definitely not for these drivers, but for us all watching and having a look at this exciting race. We're going to see what is it going to be all going around once again. They're taking it all, and now definitely the outside liners again having that little bit of a dominance. They're very coming close. Austin and Ramsdale there once again, and it's very close, which we've seen from the previous shunt earlier, that it's really, really close, and if you get just one judgment wrong, you could be ending up sometimes, ending yourself up in the wall or in one or the other driver, and really could be bringing trouble for yourself. Meanwhile, we see one of the cars up there just almost getting lapped out there, but we'll see what is it going to be happening though. So far, and that's 3 wide for a moment once again, and the outside liners going away a little bit. That's very, very close. 7 coming from outside to the inside once again. That could have been horrendous. Had there been contact, and there was almost contact once again. Austin trying to defend from both those drivers. It's quite getting hard there for him. Then the life keeps getting harder and harder for him. He's got 2 cars up to challenge for that race lead so far.
But these guys going single file. We got 3 laps to go until the stage break. Pits are going to close at the end of lap 33. And at the end of lap 35, we will have our yellow flag for our stage number 1. As Jeff Pepper's looking on the outside once again, but he doesn't have any help. But now he does, as the 15 of Brandon Yates slides up in behind him. Austin Hun goes high this time, leaves Dakota down low. Austin was gonna drop down low, but ended up being too late. Dakota's side by side with him, and Dakota's actually gonna pull ahead. Nope, Austin leads that lap. Woo.
And finally, we see Austin there getting to the outside line for a moment. All the race, pretty much so far, we had seen him stay to that inside, stay committed to that low line, and he's now going to go to the outside. Only has Jeff Peppers behind him, though, but in fact, the inside only has 2 drivers out there as well. There is others behind, but that is going to be very close once again. Almost coming together there to get the top 4 out there, and 45 staying in there, hanging in between there, but now they're going to get up and catch up to those top drivers, and it's going to be 06 on the inside and 45 on the outside. We're on lap 35, and at the end of it, it should be the stage ending. And who's going to be coming at the top of it? Is it going to be Austin Hun, or it's going to be Dakota? We're going to see just in a few moments' time, as they're very close to that start-finish line in a few moments' time, and that is going to be... That was very close. That doesn't go yellow, though, for some reason. And that is yellow indeed. And I wonder if that was Dakota or Austin coming up in first place at the end of the stage.
Yeah, I am not 100% sure. But it looks like Austin, I don't know who it was at the line. Let's go back and take a look here. Oh, that was our previous
Yep.
incident.
Almost the same time there, just to making it a photo finish, but it would be interesting to see who came to the line. Definitely that will do justice, and it might just be Dakota there. He's just having a bumper of his car ahead, and that looks like, to me at least, it must have been Ramsdale getting up to that line first, but still very close and hard to judge. And there all of these drivers come into the pits and maybe catch a little bit of a break, catch a little bit, and relax a little bit from the pressure, from the tensions of this race so far. They're going to come in to fuel up and get back out on track, fit those tires in if they need to, and get back out for this race and try and fight for the position, try and fight for the car, and see how this is all going to be going on.
All right, so next stage is going to be lap number 75.
So it is 75. I believe it was written 70, but glad you corrected it there. And
Or 70, yeah, 70.
Yes, it is 70. So it's gonna, the first two stages are gonna be equal of 35 laps each, but the final one is gonna be of 60 laps from 170 to 130 to the end. That one's gonna be crazy. That one's gonna be the one where everyone's gonna try and give it their all. Everyone's gonna try and probably do everything to get have themselves up ahead and in front of one or the other driver. At 39 now, we would be sure to be waiting to go green anytime soon. We're going to see now the pace car come in, and we would be going green for all these drivers. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy finds himself in second place just on that high line there. It's interesting to see on that outside, him staying there. He will still stay there. Is still there, though, in the mix of these top drivers in this race. And he's definitely made a better comeback than what he had done at Daytona in the Xfinity series. But we're going to see, when does this go green? Still staying yellow, though. And the pace car is in. That should be going green anytime soon, though. And that, in fact, will be going green as they are crossing that line. That would be going racing everybody. And Dustin Hardy now has got a better and proper chance of getting to that race lead, but he's not going to be finding any help there. And that almost gets ahead. Does Dakota ahead of everybody there. She still stays ahead of everybody, and only three cars on that outside line. Dustin Hardy, Jeff Peppers, and Brennan Yates on there, but sure, they would be doing their all, and they almost have a partner once again as one of the cars behind. That should be Denson on that car number 91, moving to that outside as well. The outside losing a little bit, and a little bit of a grips and positions out there, but still staying closer to the inside. And the leader earlier, Austin, coming in second place at the end of that first stage, finds himself far back in this race, and almost Dustin going on the outside, and that's going to be another shunt, and it's going to be 45 into 40 into 15, and that's going to be another big shunt in this race, and it just went green, and it's going to be back to yellow again.
Oh boy. Ooh. What happened there?
That is just, or just 15 coming in there into 45. Yeah, that was 45 just trying to get back to the outside, staying away from that red-white line, and maybe just didn't saw 15 there, or 15 was coming into the inside as well. Just collided. Wrong timing pretty much for both of them. And they jump into the pits, but some other cars in there as well, which I wonder if were they involved in the incident, or they just decided to pit and try and use this advantage of yellow when the pace car is out, and they pretty much are going to lose not much time. Surely they will be losing and making that pit stop, but not as much as they would be losing under that in that green flag.
Right, yep, pitting under that yellow. Should keep them on the lead lap, depending on if they have damage or not.
Still worth it, definitely trying to stay on that lead lap though, because once you are getting past those cars one time, it's gonna get quite harder unless there is a caution or a pace car, or unless you're waiting to be ahead of everyone at the end of this stage. But just only at the beginning of a stage, gonna be far away, even if you're waiting for a stage. So a lot of the cars, about 4, which becomes 5 as we see one more car coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, and tonight, roster roster kind of taking a big hit with the holidays this week. People probably going on vacation and whatnot, so we will not be racing Thursday night for the Cup Series this week. It'll be next Thursday at Atlanta. Tomorrow in the Truck Series, we will be racing. Kind of now thinking maybe I should have just did a whole week off, but it is what it is.
Yep, and our fellow member would have liked it, especially waiting for their ban to be lifted.
Yes. Andrew Groves serving a 1-week suspension. From iRacing.
Yep. Rare to mention that, not from us here.
Last week's winner at Daytona. Alright, pace car lights are out as they come around turn 3 and 4.
And we're going to see pace car go in, and that will be green once again. Hoping to see more racing under the green flag than we've seen under the yellow flag in the second stage so far, which of course is no racing, no. Everybody just running out right behind each other, and it's going to be Dakota and Philprex 06 in first and second place. Meanwhile, Jeff Pepper's going to go through it. Right behind them is Dustin Hardy there, all very close, and I think every single one of them have seen what happens if you're not cautious enough. to be checking, to be moving from outside to the inside. There could be a cold collision coming in with, of course, how tight this track is. It'll be still interesting to see from these drivers. 06 still staying to the outside, still keeping himself up there. Meanwhile, the top two on that inside line are staying there almost for a moment. Dakota thought to go to the outside and Jeff to the inside, but not for a moment. And he's going to be still staying there and being there because he knows as soon as he moves to the outside, there could be a chance of him losing a lot of the time. They're still going single file though. Austin could be going in there, but he has to stay there as well. Everybody on that outside line now. Not much double file racing. Meanwhile, it's going to be double file now. Jeff Pepper still staying there. One of the cars behind. We see he's very, very close to that wall on the outside. And this is going to be still interesting. A nice little N91 moves to the outside as well. Once again, Austin's back at it into second place now to the inside line. They're all at it. Meanwhile, it's going to be 83. And he's shredded and he's stuck there on the outside. And that's going to be him, only him, trying to go double file, but might just not be working up for him. And that's going to be him losing a lot of position. He's still staying to the outside, though, maybe waiting for others to come in there, and that really gave him some kind of a process, some kind of a push to the top. It still stays to his line, so still not making any risky moves or risky time thing to go to the inside, but still staying and committing to that outside. Meanwhile, Dustin already now moving up to the outside and inside, almost in the bit in between there in the middle, trying to defend from both the drivers there. I wonder if they are teammates, 83 and 87, running almost similar colors there on the cars, but I believe they won't be teammates. They're still different designs, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they're teammates. Yep.
Okay, they are teammates, though. That definitely is understandable considering they are running pretty much identical paint jobs on their cars each. Of course, numbers a bit different. Of course, they would have to be different, but I was talking about the number color that they're painted in on those cars, but they're still getting this race interestingly. Single file and the inside line still staying there, though, still staying the leaders. And Jeff Pepper's the man. He had stayed almost every time in that second or third place and behind the leaders, but now he is seen and he sees free air ahead of him and stays ahead and leading this race so far here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, ahead of everybody. Not single file, nobody really going single file at the moment. I think there comes a chance, and we're already on lap 50. In fact, there's going to be only 20 laps now before the end of this second stage, and I think when the third one begins, probably there won't be much fighting going on again in that one as well. Probably the first 40 laps, which is going to be to 100 laps, and when it's just the remaining 30, which is from 100 to 130, could be the time of racing. Meanwhile, on the outside, 87, they're at it on the ins from the driver on the inside, 91. Still close, though. Still very, very close. They almost come together there for a moment. Very, very close and tight to each other. 91 moves to the inside and goes to the inside far, far away. Just trying to stay away maybe for a moment, thinking that they were going to collide. And he's lost many positions.
Yeah, Jeff Pepper's still out in front. Austin Hunt right in behind him. Austin seems to be pretty comfortable and content pushing Jeff. We're gonna see how that kind of plays out here in the next 17 laps, though. Does Austin continue to push Jeff to that stage, or will he try to pass him as Ryan Philbrick closes in? And Chris Cornett going around the outside, trying to get one of his 22 laps back that he is down. And Chris Cornett involved in that that first incident with the number 3.
Yeah, really. And this is exactly what happens. One mistake, which happened probably many, many laps earlier. We're already 54 laps into it, and happened way long ago, but still now figuring out, fighting for his lap to be back, which I think probably the best chance for him to be is when there is a caution, and maybe when that stage is there, it'll be his time. And I think he's very close to the leaders, ahead of every single one of those being lapped by the leaders. So definitely he's going to be getting those back then. It's the end of it, but he needs to be staying cautious, and he knows that he has to be staying away from all these drivers, because if he's making another mistake, that's going to send him many, many more laps behind once again, and that's going to be one other driver once again staying to the outside. He's trying to fight it against Destin Hardy there. Chris Cornett just trying to go for it. Meanwhile, the leaders have been very comfortable. They're almost running single file now for the time being, and I think I probably, if you're asking me, I'm expecting these guys to go like this till the end of that second stage, pretty much. Maybe some movement all around, and that is going to be one already for a moment. I think Austin's looking impatient. He's not going to hang in behind for a little bit, though, which might have just changed my opinion in a few corners time, considering we've seen a little bit of movements from him and some changing there, and as soon as he thinks there's an opportunity, there's a chance for him to get ahead and get that lead back to himself. He's going to take it, and he's going to grab it with both hands.
All right, as we approach lap 57, these guys still content on just running single file, which is really good. That's how you knock down these laps. It looks like only 6 cars on the lead lap right now. Corey Denson, the very last one, sitting back here all by himself, just now going out of turn number 2 down the backstretch, while Jeff Peppers leads the field across the front stretch. So about one lap, or about a half a lap gap there between our leaders and Corey Denson. Here we go. Dustin Hardy jumps up in behind the 87 of Chris Cornett on the outside. Ooh, Dustin kind of gets in the wall on the exit of 2. And here goes the 06. The 06 making it a 2-wide race now. And he is charging all by himself, and it's going to kind of stall out, though, and he's going to continue to try to hold his line, but he is going to fall back a little bit. But Jeff Peppers drops down low, trying to control the lead of this race, but Ryan going to get a little bit of a run off of him. And there we go, Ryan trying to go low underneath Jeff. Will Ryan get a bonus point for leading the lap here? He will.
Very close, and finally there, we're seeing Ryan Philbrick on that inside line and into that lead of this race so far here at Atlanta. We have seen him race around that 06 car in that mix of these lead pack cars, but not in that lead, not in the top 2 positions so far in this race, and he's taking it this time around. Jeff Weber is going to be the big challenger once again. The leaders, Austin and Jeff Weber's on that outside line, but this time around Ryan's gonna go for it, and I think he's still going for it, and he's taking that, and he's keeping that for the time being. Meanwhile, 83 Ramsdale just with him as well, both of them on that inside line, which is only going to be 2 of these drivers on that inside, which is going to be explaining it, as Jeff is going to be very close to try and get ahead. There are some of those drivers on the outside move to the inside line, though. I think these leaders currently 5 together, just very, very close to each other, so definitely that fight is still going to be on. Meanwhile, the lap 62 is on, and it's going to be only 8 laps. We're only 8 laps away from the end of this second stage, which will be interesting to see who's going to be coming out at the top of it. Both the drivers, 83 and car number 7, currently running in 2nd and 3rd place in this race, who came at the top. Sorry, it was not 7, in fact, it was 48. Austin coming at the top at the end of that first stage, but we're going to see, I think for the time being, as comfortable as it looks for Ryan Philbrick, he's going to be the one at the top. He's going to be the one to be coming up at the top. And meanwhile, 80's to Chris Cornett there. He's very close to the leaders, and now getting his lap back. A lap back is not far away for him, and I think he's going to be on it very, very soon. And one of the cars there we've seen coming out of that pit lane, and some of the drivers we saw after a few incidents going into the pit still haven't came out. Meanwhile, Cross is out of this. Sean Cross is out. Moore is out as well. And these guys are going at it. And in the top 5 guys I believe they are the only ones in this lead lap, and there was maybe a bit of a bumper banging there between 7 and 48.
Yeah, as these guys come to 5 laps to go this time by, things are kind of heating up for this this lead here. Dakota Ramsdale already winning stage number 1. Can he get a stage number 2, or will he push Ryan Philbrick to a stage win here? Gonna be interesting to see where these guys are going to, if they're gonna stay put or if they're going to create holes.
So they would be trying to open it up and as much as they can for themselves and for their chance to get ahead, and going to be finishing up ahead of those together. But I think they know that probably the second stage won't be as important as the final one. So just try and stay away from any trouble and take any points they can at the end of this stage, though. But sure, Philbrick is still going at it. So is Jeff Peppers out there, and right behind is, of course, going to be Dakota. And Austin's not far behind as well on that outside line. It's 3 on the inside, 2 on the outside. Maybe if there is a bit of a boost coming up for the outside line, which we see all the time, and they get ahead. In fact, that is going to be the case here at this point in time. We see it still very, very close to these guys, wheel to wheel, all around, and that's going to be Jeff Peppers. He's just a few cars lengths ahead of 06 there, but he's going to come back in once again, and already on 67, lap 67 now. Just counting on, and Jeff Peppers gets ahead, and I think it's a great opportunity for him. And in fact, it is an opportunity, and he makes it count so far. Just gets ahead, and now moves from outside to the inside line. But Philbrick there for the moment thought to come back at him once again, but not quite though. As Austin Hunt now is saying to the outside line, and now his chance of getting back to that lead is going to be completely on as well. He finished second place, of course, at the end of stage 1. Is he going to try and get up and finish up first at the end of the second stage? Meanwhile, Philbrick is going to be the one, and I think there might have been a little bit of touching there. How close that was, and close enough. How Jeff Peppers has been able to keep it in first place so far. He's still keeping it there, and I think if somebody from those drivers right behind take up a chance and get ahead of him just before that finish line at the end of lap 70. But we're going to see how this is going to be turning out, though. So far, he's keeping it, and he's leading in the single file almost, or in the lane of his own. He's away from that outside. So is he from the outside. But of course, when it gets a bit tighter, he'll have to come back to that inside line, and Philbrick now would have to settle in for second place unless Austin could do something about it, and around the outside he could have a chance of getting out there. And sure, Philbrick's going to switch to the outside from the inside, and he's going to try and have a chance of the stage 2 victory here, try and come up ahead of Jeff there. It's still going to be very close. 87 now in the middle of these guys, and try and go to the outside and go 3 wide up there. We're on lap 70 in the final lap before it's going to be going yellow and end of this third stage. But it'll be interesting to see, and once again Jeff is back at it, and
caution, yellow flag.
at the end of this stage.
And Jeff Pepper's gonna get the stage win. In fact, it's his first stage win at BMRL. Alright, now we're back. Discord is having some issues with audio there. But yeah, Jeff Pepper's winning his first stage of his career here at BMRL. Now I'm just
Interesting.
gonna...
I mean, definitely, it takes something to begin, and he's at it already.
Yep, now can his first win come?
Absolutely.
Can he get that first win tonight?
Sure, we'll be looking for that, and I'm sure he's got one part of it, stage 2 win, which he would love to transfer into stage 3. Would need that stream though.
Do what?
It's not on for me on Discord.
Oh, yeah. Got
And there we go. 74 out of 130. And definitely, this track being very small, it's kind of showing up here. I mean, already we're 74 laps in. It's definitely way, way quicker than it was at Daytona, that's for sure.
Love some 1.5-mile tracks as pace car lights are off. That means we're gonna go green flag racing here for the final 55 laps.
That's going to be, and these 55 are going to be the longest and the finest distance that these drivers have to go and got to go under the green flag so far in this race. Of course, it was one stage 35, the other was 35 as well, but of course, few laps behind that pace car, and the incidents, it was way less than even 30 laps under that green flag, and it's going to be going green once again now, as we're going to transfer, again, get into lap 75 from 74, and it's going to be Jeff Peppers now on that inside line, still staying ahead of everyone. Decatto not far behind as well to him on the outside, and he's now trying to defend from both of those drivers, inside and the outside line out there. Austin trying to do everything he can to get back to that race lead, which he has. He was second at the end of that first stage, and he was very close to the top at the end of that second one as well, and I'm sure now he's going to be all on it, and everybody around would be playing all they can for that race win, what they would be wanting in this final and third stage of this race. Meanwhile, Dakota Rimsdale on the outside, very close to overtaking Jeff Peppers there. He almost went in the middle of both of those drivers on the inside and the outside to defend his position. It's very close behind as well. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy gets himself into 4th place. Very, very close racing up there. Meanwhile, all those right behind are not very far away as well. This could be anyone's race. This isn't done yet. This isn't in the final stages yet. So anybody could be having. And I think one thing they would all be looking to do is going to be staying out of any incidents, staying out of any problems that they wouldn't want, especially after driving 77 of these 130 laps. It's very close. Still down around the outside. He's going to go for it, Dakota. He's going to try and keep it. He's going to try and stay hanging in there, though. Maybe try and find some speed to get ahead of Jeff Peppers there, but still doesn't get, though. Just stays very close. And together with Jeff Peppers 7, he's a little bit of a nose ahead of him, but then the inside line gets ahead and gets that lead once again. Very close for 91 for a moment. We thought going to almost 3 wide up there, but of course that line doesn't allow it, and the nature of this track is quite tight as well. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy around the outside, he's sending it there. He's still staying in there between those top guys, and he's sure done a very, very good recovery from Daytona Xfinity Series. That's going to be bang, and that's going to be contact between 7 and 83. That could have been horrendous had there been more consequences of this. This has ended very cheaply. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy there falls back.
Yeah, it looks like Dustin got into the wall there on the turns 3 and 4. And he kind of got Chris Cornett. Chris Cornett now having more damage added to the nose of his car. Not sure how it's going to affect it, but it's very noticeable now.
Absolutely, I think definitely for that first shunt didn't help, and the second one's going to be bad for him as well. And meanwhile, Dustin Hardy, as they say, commentators discussed, always heard of it, never become part of it. I mean, just praising him, how he's recovered from the previous race. He just clips that wall on his own, and that's going to be the damage for him, and falling behind as well. And that's going to see these cars going single file. Jeff Peppers, Austin Hunt, and Ryan Philbrick are in that top 3. Right behind them is going to be 97 up there. 91. Denson out in there in 4th place as well. Not ruling out any chance of victory up there for him as well.
There we go. Jeff Peppers goes high into turn number 1. That allows Ryan Philbrick to kind of sneak in there on the bottom. He's going to clear Jeff on the outside. Does he go to the outside? No, he's kind of stuck in the middle as the 91 of Corey Denson kind of held him there, but Corey lets him in. And Jeff Peppers back to the lead. He's going to lead that lap. Does he go down low? He was thinking about it. He's trying to block both lines. He seems to be perfectly content with Austin Hunt pushing him. Once again, Ryan Philbrick goes kind of high down the backstretch into a 3rd line there, leaving that inside line really wide open. And leaving that wide open like that, disaster usually strikes.
Which is now, we've seen Denson not much in this top driver's fight, but he's in there on the inside there, of course, and he's going to try and announce himself in a style, and there is no doubt that he could be one of those drivers finishing on these podium positions. We're going to see now Jeff Peppers on the outside, just keeping it ahead of Ryan Philbrick there, very, very close as well. I mean, it's almost like wherever Austin is, you find Jeff Peppers there, or wherever Pepper is, you find Austin out there, both of them out there. Meanwhile, that's going to be a big chance for 06 for a moment there, but he just backs out there. For a moment, he thought he was going to be there, but he's not going to be there. Meanwhile, 91 almost for a chance there to go to make it 3 wide there, and for a little bit of a slip from Jeff Peppers there, trying to defend maybe from both those drivers, and he's going to find it out to try and defend from Ryan, and he's going to be finding it hard, and that's going to be transferring up there though. Definitely some parts of this track's favoring the outside line, and some of that on the inside line. Still very close, Jeff Peppers and Ryan Philbrick very close to each other, and now Philbrick is having to defend from Denson up there on the inside line. He's finding it very hard.
Yeah, Ryan Philbrick pushed by Corey Denson is looking pretty strong on the inside line. Not sure if they've got the speed though, as nope, Brian's gonna stay down on the bottom. But they're gonna kind of lose a little bit of ground going into turn 3. Jeff Peppers at the line, gonna be the leader once again as they go into turn number 1. Ryan getting up close and personal with Dakota there on the backstretch, riding that middle line again.
Going at it once again, still to that inside line, still staying there. Sometimes we've seen these drivers pile up a middle line for some reason to try and Of course, try and defend, try and do what they can for at some parts of this track. It feels like a 3-line, and almost a 4th car could be in there to form up 4 lanes. But of course, when we get into those corners, uphill, downhill sections, it makes it very tight and very close between to even keep 2 lanes out there. With Denson for a moment thought to set one, but again gets back and holds back a little. Meanwhile, Ryan there, he's going to find it hard. He's still staying to that inside line, though. He's just keeping it there. He's committed there to just keep himself up there. And now trying to try and fight Austin there, of course. He's going to be keeping it up close. And now maybe when is going to be the chance for Jeff Peppers to move to the inside line. He's still not moving, though. He's still fencing that chance and giving the respect to Phil Brick there, what he expects him to move, and he's not trying something unorthodox, just too different, which could be trouble for them. But I think this could be a chance for him to move to the inside line, but he doesn't move to the inside. He's still committed, and I think he still finds and thinks that, of course, Austin and Ramsdale would be his more competitive than all those on the inside. Of course, they are competitive as well, but I think he knows that if he moves to that inside line, there's a chance that Austin and Dakota could get ahead of him and could pressurize his positions, which he mostly feels more threatened from than those on the inside line so far.
There you go, Dustin Hardy being pushed by Jamie Prevost. Jamie back on track after countless of times on pit road, fixing up issues from problems that happened on that first caution with the number 3 and the 87. See Joe Packard right in behind our lead pack right here. He's still fighting to get back on the lead lap. $11 laps down for Joe. And Brandon Yates still on pit road. But Jeff Peppers, I think at this point, has crossed and surpassed the line of most laps led here tonight, as he is still out in front and has been for the last since pretty much our stage break, and was our leader prior to that stage break as well. Austin Hunt switches down on the bottom line. He wants to go for the lead, but Jeff says no, sir. Jeff gonna continue to stick his rear end all up in Austin's nose here. And that's going to allow Dakota Ramsdale to come around on the outside. And oh my goodness, there goes Austin and Dakota up into the wall.
And that's a big incident. That is going to be nothing but music to Jeff Pepper's ears. Both of those drivers in the fighting for that lead, and both of his competitors moving up and way far behind with that incident. Austin went for it and thought for it that he was going to go for it, and that was definitely the wrong timing and wrong move for him. And now Jeff has got Philbrick and Denson to defend from, but they maybe doesn't feel much competition. Of course, they aren't going to leave him. They aren't going to leave the chance of trying to take an opportunity of taking this race lead. But we'll see what it's going to be all around, and that's going to be caution, and that incident is going to be causing yellow flags.
Yeah, both of those cars not too bad on the damage side of things, but it definitely hurt. Let's go back and see if we can find where this kind of went wrong.
Sometimes you might not have damage, but you are going to have losing, position lost, and that always hurts your race and hurts your night all along. And this was the moment, just when Austin thought he was ahead and far away from that car on the outside. He just went into him and smashed his rear tires into the front end of that 83 car, and both of them into the wall.
Austin able to come back out onto the track. Should still be. Yep, he's only 1 lap down. Dakota Ramsdale still stuck on pit road though.
might be suffering a little bit more than Austin out there. And Def Peppers now come into the pits as well.
And who's going to win the race off of pit road? Jeff Peppers is going to win that race off of pit road there.
Close there, and maybe for an opportunity for Ryan Philbrick there. He might have thought that he could win it in the pits there from Jeff Peppers. Maybe not out on track, but it would be good, bad news for him. He need to try a little bit harder, and more hard work would needed for him to be done. And under though, when it goes green, it would be his time to go. So pretty much, if we're going green in a few laps time at least, more than 3 laps is going to be just into those 100s. So it's going to be about 130 or a little bit less than 30 laps to the end. It's going to be all of them pushing, and of course all or nothing now pretty much those times. But I think you still have to be very cautious with this, which what we just saw in the incident earlier between Austin and Dakota there. Even if you're thinking that you've judged it correct, one misjudgment sends you and somebody around you into the walls as well. So you could have your race ruined, but not by yourself, but someone around as well. So you pretty much have to drive for yourself and for others as well to just have yourself stay away. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy is there now a bit behind those leaders out there, and he could be one of the drivers challenging up there as well.
Yeah, gonna be an interesting restart as we've got even fewer cars left in this thing. And nobody lining up on the outside as everyone else has come back down pit road, or they're on not on the lead lap, so they're gonna have to line up on the inside line, leaving Ryan Philbrick all by himself with gonna be potentially no help.
It's almost like risk it all or nothing. If he's gonna get something, he might just get the lead, and maybe he'll jump on those leaders and jump to that inside line very quickly. But if he does not find any help and anything up there, he could be losing a lot of those positions. But meanwhile, Chris Cornett comes to his support and stays to the outside line there, and at least get some hope to Ryan Philbrick.
All right, Dakota Ramsdale still on pit road. Austin Hund back on the track. There he is on the right side of your screen.
Green flag, green flag.
And green flag is out. We've got about 31 laps to go.
Laps 31 final, and all they've got in this remaining of this laps of this race, they've got 98 done in this one. 99th is going on, and now they've got many more to deal with as well. Of course, so far the leader is able to defend, and he was able to defend Jeff Peppers to that inside line. He's able to keep it, and the outside line, which Ryan Philbrick thought of risking it all. He found nobody to his support. For a moment, he found Chris Cornett there, but he again thought to move to the inside line as well, and he in fact is going to be moving to the inside line, and no one out there just alongside car number 6 out there. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy for a moment thought he could make it the inside line for himself up there, but that's going to be the case as well. Anytime you're going to see him move to the outside, and that's going to be just time right now, but that is not going to be the case up here so far. He's going to still stay there and maybe think that is the best line and best chance of him, and maybe just go for it when he thinks that's the moment for him to go. That's a moment and chance for him to going up there. But it's going to be still interesting to see what's going to be happening there, though. Of course, cars behind now have got it up there as well. Now it's going to be a good fight between Denson and Philbrick up there, and there might be some contact up there. That was very close, though. I thought almost there was contact, but it'll be interesting to see. They've just walked out of it without much being done. Both of them are still staying there. Now the outside line may be coming up to some charge out there, as there's a chance for Ryan to get back to the inside, and he does get back to the inside without any trouble. But that was Denson there moving to the inside for some reason. I wonder if there was some contact, or he was just getting out of the way thinking that they might have not had much chance out there, though.
Ooh, Ryan Philbrick gets kind of shoved out of that line as Chris Cornett kind of sneaks in there in behind Dustin Hardy. Safe to say there will be a new winner in BMRL here tonight, whether it's... Oh, and there's contact! Chris Cornett goes sliding uncontrollably down the apron, but I believe he stays good.
He might be, but sure, in terms of feelings and that confidence of his, could be going from bad to worse after another moment in this race. Meanwhile, Jeff Peppers hangs it around all up by himself. He's got Dustin Hardy and Ryan Philbrick right behind them, and there was some bumper touching out there, I believe, but still interesting, still keeping in one line in single file, and I think he's ready to take that risk. The 06 car there of Ryan Philbrick is ready to take that risk of going to the outside and go for that all or nothing moves, but he hasn't got much support to him. He hasn't got much support to anyone to support him, anyone to give some push and that little extra speed that they might need sometimes on the outside line. So he's still staying to that inside and single file, and now it's only from P1 to 3 and their own to the podium position sorted for this time around, but it's not going to be for a long time. It's not going to be long before Austin Hunt is closer to these guys as well, and he's closer and into that fight for that race lead. Meanwhile, here we have 25 laps to go to the end.
Yeah, we're getting down to the very last handful of laps here as we continue to see the only 3 cars left to fight for this win. Everyone else involved in some sort of incident sitting 1 lap back to... well, there's 4 cars left on the lead lap, but only 3 really fighting for it. Austin Hunt, 5th place, 2 laps down, involved in an early incident with Dakota Ramsdale, who is still on pit road. And Brandon Yates also on pit road still. One of these 3 drivers is going to get the win here tonight. And it's going to be their very first win here in BMRL.
It'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top. Whoever does, I'm sure they'll deserve it all. Of course, they've stayed out of those incidents. Maybe Dustin Hardy there has been involved in a few of them, but he still kept it clean. He's kept it clear and has been able to be coming out back to the top. He hit a wall all by himself earlier, but he's back at it. And now the chance of 06 coming around the outside. He takes it all. He risks it all, and nobody to support to nor Ryan Philbrick or to support Dustin Hardy there on the inside line. Of course, he's got Jeff Pepper's car ahead, but is he going to switch to the outside line very, very closely? It's still interesting to see the battle. Well, but everybody watching, don't go anywhere. We will be back in a few moments' time and continue with that race, which has been going on, which should be having at least about 20 laps or a little bit less in it. Should be good to go. And that interesting fight will be back and we'll be back with that. In fact, rejoining into that track action very, very soon.
I don't know. It's done this for a couple of days now during broadcast.
Might be because of connectivity issues.
I don't know. Hope it's nothing to do with like any my computer hardware.
So maybe try and leave the session and get back on, if that helps.
It's like an internet issue. Because now it's not wanting to reconnect to iRacing. An internet test here. If it'll load. Loading that.
So is it relatable to sharing your screen here, or it's just pretty much normal, and then obviously it would be affecting everything?
Yeah, I think it's just my internet because now the web page is loading up as the race is coming back. So I believe it is internet quality here. Something's going on with the... I think it's just an internet update. Yeah, because it's still not loading this web page up. Did it for a second and the race came back, and so it...
Ooh, we just see smokes of the cars now.
Okay, now internet is running the speed test. Ooh, and I'm getting... Yeah, it's the internet being affected. I'm only getting 100 something megabytes a second. I should be getting 900. There's an issue with the internet.
Oops.
Maybe we're back now. I don't know. I'm getting no upload speed either. That's bad. I should be getting 30 something.
Upload speed is.
I have to say though, the cars look a lot nicer. something happened. The cars look different. I did kind of mess up my settings there. Oh, Dakota up into the wall. And... Or not Dakota,
They're
Dustin.
into the wall on his own there. That could have been all. Doesn't like it, I guess. It's back, but it'll be back once again. Meanwhile, Jeff Pepper has been able to hang it on and still stay there in the lead by himself. And it's going to be Ryan Philbrick very close right behind him, but he hasn't been able to challenge or get ahead of him. Meanwhile, all those right behind are very, very close as well. Dustin Hardy and... There's another car there at the moment. Quite hard to identify their numbers at this moment in time. That is, in fact, Brendan Yates in third place in that car number 15. He's having it all, and we have seen him sometimes into those top guys, sometimes not out there, but we'll see how this is all going to be panning out between Jeff Peppers and Phil Brick out there. They're still very close into the inside line, but meanwhile, Chris Cornett and Brendan Yates are going at it very, very close to that line, and Chris Cornett on the outside line might just have a little bit of a chance and speed to go through on the leaders, but he's going to get back in and snap into the inside line, and that'll be him snatching in. And what a recovery from Chris Cornett so far. He's back to those, and that is going to be some touchings. Both of those drivers switching to the inside line at the same exact time, and that's going to be, once again, there's going to be interesting things, but I believe there Chris Cornett, 87, is between those guys. He's within the leaders, but he's not on the lead lap, so he's still a lap behind, which it says he's in P8 currently, just staying with those top guys. But definitely, so the chance of a victory, and a interesting thing of having a new winner here at BMRL, it could well be on with only 8 laps to go now. It'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top, and the fight looks on between the two, Jeff Pepper and Ryan Philbrick, in the top 2 positions.
Yes, Jeff Pepper's cruising, hoping to capture that first win. Been in BMRL for 3 seasons, well, technically almost 4, as he came in on the end of season 1, actually as a spotter for me in the truck series. But season 2 he became a driver here, searching for that first win. Can he get it? Also, Ryan Philbrick joining this season for season 4, also searching for his first win in BMRL, and only race number 2 for him. Dustin Hardy getting a nice little push from the 15. That's Brandon Yates. Everyone back on the track besides Corey Moore and Sean Cross. Both of those guys are behind the wall. They already loaded their cars up and went home. So everyone on the track again, as damaged cars are now back out. The 15, it looks like he got Dustin up there on these guys, and then he kind of dropped back, as he is not on the lead lap, so he doesn't want to be in the mix. Oh, but Jeff Peppers goes up towards the wall. Not sure what happened, but he's going to be all on his own on the outside. But here comes Dakota. Will Dakota get behind him? He will not.
And the chances and those dreams of a first win shatter all along for Jeff Peppers there, as Ryan Philbrick takes the lead, and that's going to be a one more incident in this race with just 5 laps to go. And that chance of those leaders, all those drivers a lap down, gives them a chance to be back if you're leading that lap, and it's going to be a chance for all those to be back again. And it's Chris Cornett once again with Brendan Yates to be involved in an incident, and Chris Cornett's night just keeps getting worse and worse again. Lucky for Hardy to not be involved there. He was close to those guys as well. It is all caution now with 4 laps to go. Probably it's going to be doing a few more laps. Are we having the laps being paused here before the end of the race with 4 remaining? It's going to go 3, so are we having 3 laps paused here?
Yes, we're going to have a green-white checkered. We have 3 opportunities for this. It'll be interesting to see what goes down here with these top 4 guys, all looking for that first win.
There comes Corey Denson. He's went it all as well. He's went for it. He's snuck on number 91. He still has stayed here and there in between those drivers. And this time it's a golden opportunity for him as well. At the moment he's looking to get back into that inside line, maybe falling behind a little bit. Very close, all of them waiting for this to go green, and these final 3 laps would be their chance and hope that they could bring it all back home in one piece and go home as victorious. All of them would be fighting for their first here. Let it be Ryan Philbricks, or be it Dustin Hardy, be it Jeff Peppers, or even Denson91 out there as well. All together and very, very close to each other. Meanwhile, Austin in 5th place, car 48 is far away at the moment. In fact, he's in the pits there. And Brendan Yates, car 15, he's a lap down. So it's going to be the top 4 drivers. It's going to be an all or nothing for them to get it on and try and get to the end of this race for all of these drivers and make it a victory and be the first one to finish. And having seen the first 2 stages, this is going to be nothing short of excitement and close racing out there, and it should be just very close. How it was in those first 2 stages, we'll only be knowing when it's all over, unless there's a single file finish, which is going to be very unlikely to be happening though, as we've seen all these drivers fight double file and fight it all. As the pace car goes in, that's going to be going green, and the opportunity to every single one of them is going to be becoming equal, and that's going to be green all along, and it's going to be Ryan Philbricks leading off the line as it goes green. It's going to be Jeff Peppers now challenged up all around the outside, but Dustin Hardy as well. He's going to move back to the inside line and far away. Actually, the lead is quite bigger for Ryan Philbricks there, but he's going to come back. He's going to drop down a little as everybody's going to come back at them. And I think maybe if there's more incidents out there in the back or anybody in between, anybody in this top 3 or 4 drivers, expect nothing less. And it's going to be Jeff Peppers moving to the outside line, thinking that it's going to be effective and it's going to be more better than how it's been, and he's moving to that outside and having his chance of getting back to that race lead and that victory chance for him though. And that final lap begins once again. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Philbricks coming up first, or is it going to be Jeff Peppers, or even Dustin Hardy finds his way to that finish line first? And are we going to see anyone finishing up first and win this race and be victorious here at Atlanta Motor Speedway? We're just moments away now. It's almost single file. Meanwhile, Dustin Hardy for a moment thought to go to the outside line, and he almost tapped a 91 there, and it is looking like that's going to be Ryan Philbrick coming up to the top and winning this race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and coming up victorious just ahead of Jeff Peppers and Denson there.
What a race. Watch that again as we come to the checkered flag here. Dustin Hardy's gonna take a wild ride.
Ooh, did he even finish? He's out of the podiums for sure, but does he get the finish? He sure does. So just going into that finish line, just spinning around. He takes a dig, and that is going to hurt him for long. Sure, he wasn't going to be victorious, but still staying inside those top 3 could have been a very good result.
But Ryan, ooh. What was that?
Tradition of Chris Corner and Brendan Yates still stays alive. The incidents that they went throughout this race. waiting to get them the interview now.
All right, Mr. Jeff Peppers, bringing home in second place, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thought you were gonna have the win there, but then right before that green white checkered yellow came out, looks like you kind of lost it in turn 4 exit. Kind of so take us through your race and prior to that green white checkered.
Man, it was going pretty good. For the most part, that inside line seemed to be the way to go. That outside line could get a run off the backstretch and partially in the tri-oval, but if you had a nice little distance going into 3, into 4, you could always come out, first at the line. So I was just running that, all night and keeping that in the back of my head. And I got loose there. I believe it was going into 3. I don't know what happened. I must have got arrow loose or something, but I got loose, and it kind of caused, I think, somewhat of a chain reaction to that. Kind of jumbled everybody up, and unfortunately, it brought a caution out, and the green white checkered there, and I knew me starting where I had to go that I had to find a way around Ryan somehow, and I thought Dustin was going to go with me, but he didn't. So it kind of left me out there high and dry, and I tried to push him there at the tri-oval, but it just didn't line up, and unfortunately, I kind of got him loose and spun him inside. I feel bad for him, but I was just trying to get him up there for the win. That's all my intentions was on that. But other than that, man, it was a fun race tonight. The track was really, really, really slick for some reason. I don't know if it was a setup or what, but you were dancing your right rear all night. So, but other than that, man, yeah, I had fun. I think I got a stage win at one point, and so I had a good points night tonight.
Definitely, yes, indeed. But yes, so close to getting that first win. But yeah, before I let you go, floor is yours. Any shout outs or any thank yous?
Man, I want to, as always, thank my family, thank my wife and kids for letting me race 3 days out of the 7-day week, taking time to do this, and making sure that I'm focused and where I'm at and everything. And I also want to give a shout out to Two Bronze Dogs. It's a buddy of mine's pet shop there in the Nashville, Lebanon area. They have all kind of treats and stuff for dogs and cats, and they also have a program called Bolt's Rescue that does animal rescues and transports them from across the country. And it's a really good cause. I want to give them a shout out. So if you're in the Nashville, Lebanon, Tennessee area, look them up. They got a store. They also have a online store that they recently opened, and they will ship pretty sure to all lower 48 if you're interested in that, and that is twobronzedogs.com.
All right, man. Well, congratulations once again getting that second place finish here tonight and that stage win. Going to be a great points night for you.
For sure. Thank y'all for putting this on. For you, Chris, and for Zabby for calling our races. We really do appreciate it and letting these people see what we love to do.
Thanks, man. Congrats to you too.
Thank you. On to next week.
All right. Looks like Corey Denson. Mr. Corey Denson finishing in third place here tonight, man. What a great points night for you.
Oh yeah. It was well deserved. I think so. Back and forth from front to the back. It was a crazy night.
And keeping your nose clean all night pretty much. It's a great finish for you there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to. I ran. I was in that first caution, I was in that. I got a little front damage, and then I got it all fixed up, and then I didn't really get much damage. I missed the 73 by the skin of my teeth, I think, and had some run-ins. I kind of wish I would have handled myself a little bit better, but I do apologize to the 06 for being a butthead. At the end there, I was just kind of frustrated with a couple of the moves he was making, and I didn't want to turn him. There was only 4 of us left, so I was going to get a top 5 no matter what. So, but at the end there, I do apologize. I kind of let my emotions play, but other than that, man, I had a blast. I hate this track. I hate that state, and I can't wait for next week.
Definitely. And next week, I believe we head to Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, even better.
That's
where I first
take a
got my first
look.
Xfinity and official.
Yep, Las Vegas next week. 150 laps at Las Vegas. The best mile and a half, I think, in NASCAR, honestly. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun race.
Most definitely. I mean, with this crew, we have a good crew here, so we're having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun, and yeah. What, buddy? We'll go outside in a minute. Give me a second. Sorry.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go here, anyone you want to give a shout out to or thank you to?
Huge shout out to Bill Calder. He had a stroke last night, a minor stroke. I found out this morning. So I want to give a huge shout out to him. Without him, man, I don't race a lot. To all my friends and family that watched and support me to do what I do, and reach out to people. You never know what they're going through. Mental health is a big part of my life, and trying to bring awareness is a big part of the brand. So, just a huge shout out to all you guys that put this on, and definitely you, Chris. You put on a hell of a show, and the broadcaster dude, I don't know your name, I'm sorry, but dude, you do a hell of a job. You make it fun, and Right Rear Racing, and like I said, a huge shout out to Bill and everybody that supports me. And like I said, just reach out to all your friends and family. You never know what they're going through, or if they need that phone call or not. But other than that, thanks for everything you guys do, and y'all have a good night.
All right, man. Well, congratulations getting that top 3 finish. It's going to be a great points night for you, man.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right, we'll see you next week. All right. That's pretty much a wrap here tonight. A great race at Atlanta. Yeah, we should have maybe postponed a week because of the holidays here in 2 days. But heck, I love racing no matter what the track looks like. But thank you, Zavi, for bringing the booth to life here tonight. And look forward to tomorrow's truck race.
Definitely fantastic. I mean, any race we get in any fight out on track, just try and get the most out of it. And we saw it today, and sure, in the truck series, it's going to be crazy as well. We're excited for it, and hopefully, hope you guys have a great rest of the week and enjoy your holiday that is, and be back with a bang again.